Hello everybody out there, welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. So what I have today is my owl of the month, and it is going to be of course July. And here are some of my other owls of the month I've done, and that's the one I'm doing for July right there in the front, the little guy with the sparkler in his beak. Thought I'd kind of make it for kind of like a 4th of July. Here's the colors I'm using: quinacridone violet, Smalt Dumonts blue, indigo, rose madder, Hansa Lemon Yellow, and neutral tint. All of those are Winsor Newton except the Hansa Lemon Yellow, which is by Qor. So I started out with a 6x6 sheet of cold pressed watercolor paper. I do all my owls of the month on the same size of paper. And as you see for the sprinkler, what I'm doing is, I said sprinkler, I meant sparkler. I am using masking fluid to mask out the sparkler that is in the owl's beak. And also I did mask out the eyes with this one. As you can see, I did a sketch. Also, I did not record the sketch part. It's just a basic owl shape, as you can see, and he's sitting on a post. And I'm using a sharp edge there to make those sparkles. Haha. Just kind of give it, kind of a sharp edge, because when you have, hold sparklers, they have those nice sharp edges. So there it is. That's the only thing I masked out. I taped it down, and I'm going to be doing wet on wet for the background. So I, of course, make sure the masking fluid is completely dry, and I'm wetting around the owl. And I'm wetting it pretty good. This is Fabriano paper, which I really like a lot. So I started out with blue, kind of like a milky consistency, the blue and the quinacridone violet, which makes such a really pretty color mixed together. So I'm just putting that mixture around the owl there. Then I'm adding more, and it's pretty wet, as you can see. I'm adding more quinacridone violet. And then I came in with the indigo, because I want the background to be pretty dark. So indigo, always works well for that. It's a nice, rich color, and I put a good mixture of that over on top of the other colors. And I want to make sure it's especially dark around my sparkler. I'm going to keep on calling it a sprinkler. So now what I'm doing is I did do a little bit of sprinkles there. I don't know if you saw. This paper, Fabriano paper, works so well when you splatter with water. As you can see, it's just a great paper for that. I really like the effects that it has when you sprinkle water on top. So I sprinkled some water, then I came in with some Hansa Lemon Yellow and did a little bit of sprinkles of that too. Then I decided to go ahead and just dip some in there, because I just really love the way that yellow mixed with those colors, the indigo and the other blue. And if you look close up, it just created the coolest effect. It almost looks like a firework in itself, and that's just with some water and that Hansa Lemon Yellow. The Hansa Lemon Yellow, because it is a Qor, it just, the binder in it just spreads like that. So cool with this paper. I love it. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of dropping in some more of that Hansa Lemon Yellow on that while it was wet, and now it is dry. Look at how pretty it is. I just love that background. So it is dry now, and I am wetting the owl. The owl is going to be wet on wet, and I'm just going to be using a mixture of the colors that I have with that palette that I'm using. As you'll see, first I'm going to start in with a really light mixture of the Hansa Lemon Yellow and water. Just kind of doing a light wash there of that color on my owl. Then I'll be coming in with some of the indigo, some of the Smalt Dumonts blue. As you'll see, I'm kind of just winging it. I looked at a reference photo when I drew the owl, but I didn't have any idea of how I was going to decorate the owl. And that's when I make these owl of the month videos, that's how I am with these owls. I rarely know what kind of details I'm going to put on the owl. I'll just kind of go with the flow as I'm painting. I do these, they're more fun and relaxing for me than a serious type painting. So there I came in with some quinacridone violet, you see. Now I came in with some, I think that is a tiny little bit of the indigo, and I'm just kind of creating some shadows, and I'm just kind of playing around with the colors. And I did decide to mask off the eyes this time. With some of my other owls, I haven't masked off the eyes. Today I didn't feel that lucky that they were going to turn out okay. So I thought I better mask them. There's that Smalt Dumonts blue. I'm hoping I'm saying it right. I put it around the neck. It's really a pretty color blue. It's kind of like almost got a lavender color to it. And there's some of the violet there I'm adding, and then I'm coming in with more of that yellow. Adding more of that yellow there too. I really love that Hansa Lemon Yellow. And I decided to drop in some salt on the chest area and around the neck just to see what happens. Adding more yellow. Kind of just playing around, having fun. And it was starting to dry, so I came back with some of that, a mixture of the quinacridone violet and the blue. Just kind of coming in with some details on the wings and around the head while I let that salt dry. Then I use indigo to line around the eyes. Pretty thick mixture of indigo since it's a pretty dark color. That's the darkest color I used on this. Well, no, I take that back. I did use some neutral tint. I mixed in some neutral tint. But that's the indigo there around the eyes. Right now it's in its ugly phase. With all paintings, it seems like we go through an ugly phase. The beginning's okay. It's usually the middle of the painting. It's where the ugly phase is. I think the eyes look wonky because of the because the masking fluid is kind of funny. But then I'm just adding some more color to the around the owl. Then I thought, the owl's sitting there on kind of like a post. So I just used, instead of making the post, brown and such, I thought I just wanted to keep, use the colors that I had. I wanted to add any more. So I did some indigo, and then I do add some neutral tint to the post. And here I'm just adding just more color to the wings and around, just a mixture of the violet and the blue. And I keep on fussing around the eyes. And then using my, I'm trying to get rid of some of the harsh lines that we're developing. So to do that, I just take my brush, dip it in some water, and dry it off a little bit, and kind of just blend those colors in together. So I wanted to look at the sparkler to see how the sparkler turned out. So there I'm rubbing off the masking fluid. I did notice though, a little bit of the paper came off with that masking fluid. And it was plenty dry, I know that. And the eyes too. So, when I use arches, I don't have that issue. Sometimes with this Fabriano paper, I do. Depends. Maybe I put the masking fluid on too thick. That could be an issue. So what I'm doing here is I'm kind of softening up the edges around the sparkler with some water. Then I'll add a little bit of yellow in there. I'll start doing that pretty soon. But just kind of soften up some of the edges on the sparkler there, the sparks on the sparkler. And I don't want it too soft, and I'm just dabbing it with my paper towel. There, I can see a little bit better. I'm just kind of softening, and then with some water, and then dabbing it, and then I'll add a little bit of yellow. The yellow was mixing with that indigo, and then it was kind of turning too green, and I didn't want it to be too greeny, so that's why I'm kind of dabbing it too. So I had got some color on the inside of that sparkler. That's what I was doing. So then I painted I used the NutriTint to paint the little sparkler's handle to the beak of the owl. And now I'm adding color to the owl's eyes. So I put a little bit of the lemon yellow in there first. Then I added some rose madder just to kind of brighten up the eyes. That's the only area that I used the rose madder. Is kind of just a light wash in the eyes with that lemon yellow. And then I use some neutral tint and some yellow on the stick part of the sparkler. And I'm just working the face. I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. So I was trying not to overwork it. I wasn't sure, so I was just kind of blending stuff. Then I add a little bit more rose madder to the eyes. And I decided to use a light wash of the rose madder under the chin there and on the chest. So I do take that back. I know I did say the eyes were the only places. I forgot I did use a light wash there too on the under the neck and chest area. Just a super light wash because I like the effect of the salt, and I didn't want to mess with the salt, you know, so I just did a really light wash of that over the salt effects area. And there I'm just lining I used some neutral tint. I'm lining around the eyes and then adding the pupils to the eyes. I wasn't sure if I should add lashes to that owl or not. Lots of times I like to add lashes, but I did some stuff later with a white gel pen, as you will see. So here I'm putting a little bit of water inside those cool effects right there that I made. And then I'm adding some white gel pen. So the gel pen's kind of spreading in the middle there because I added water first and kind of dotted it with the gel pen, and which makes that white kind of spread a little bit. So I just gave a little bit of a white center to those shapes there. I really love the one that's above the owl's head. So okay, now I'm taking my gel pen and I am adding a little bit of detail. Sorry, my hand's in the way for this. And I'm just kind of adding a little bit of feathery marks around the face, as you can see. And then I decided to add some little highlight details around the body there and by the wings. Just adding more those little feathery details there. And I'm adding a little bit of a detail too around the eye, kind of giving a little bit of contrast with the black and around the eye, so there's contrast of white, black around the eye there. I didn't like the way the dots were with the gel pen. I was having problems with the gel pen, so I used a acrylic pen to add the dots again to the eyes. And then here I have a black marker. I'm just kind of adding a little bit more detail with the black marker. That is it. I took the tape off and there is the finished product. So that's the July Owl of the Month. I hope you guys like it. And please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for all you guys. See you soon. Bye.